Alright, this is a math help video for 070206C, which is piping offsets. Okay, so the self-test. The first question is just asking you to calculate the travel for the right angle to the nearest millimeter. So these ones, if I'm just looking for all the sides, I don't have to do trig. It would actually be impossible to do trigs. To do trig, I need to know angles. But for sides, I can just use Pythagoras. So remember, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Okay, remember, it doesn't really matter which ones these two are, but c squared is always the hypotenuse. So c squared is over there. Or I should just have said c, actually, my bad. Okay, so how I figure this out is I would go c squared is equal to 500 squared plus 900 squared. Okay, and again, I'm going to use the Casio FX260 for this video. It works really nice because I have this squared button. So I'll just go 500 with that squared button. It's third from the end on the very top line. It's the x with the 2 on it, the squared. So I just go 500 squared plus 900 squared. And I push equals. Then I go shift, that same button, and that'll give me the square root. Okay, so you should get 1029.56, something or other. We want the nearest to mil, so it'll just be 1030. Okay, 1030 millimeters. Okay, question 2, more of the same. So again, it doesn't really matter which ones these ones are, but this one's going to be c. Okay, so c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So again, I'll go c squared is equal to 8 squared plus 20 squared. Okay, and with that calc with the FX260, it makes it really easy. I just go 8 squared plus 20 squared. Don't forget to push equals, shift that squared button, and I should get 21.5406, something or other. This is inches, so I should answer to the nearest 16th of an inch. So I'll take away the whole, minus 21. That way I'm left with just everything after the decimal. I times that by 16. And I get 8.6 and change, so that'll be 9/16. Rounds up to 9/16. 21 and 9/16 of an inch. Okay, so again, it's all the sides. The only thing is, that's the right angle, which means that is now the hypotenuse, correct? That's the longest side. So remember, it doesn't really matter what these ones are, but this one's C. And I guess they told us that that one's A. So c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. But I'm not looking for c. I'm trying to find a, so I have to rejig the formula. And I get a squared is equal to c squared minus b squared. Okay, so I can go a squared is equal to 210 squared minus 165 squared. Okay, so I just go 210 squared minus 165 squared. Don't forget to push equals and shift that squared button to get yourself the square root. And you should get 129.9 nearest to mil. We'll just go 130 millimeters. Okay, this is just like the question before. I'm working with the sides, but I'm not looking for C on this one. I'm trying to find B. So remember, it was c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. But I'm not trying to find C, I'm trying to find this pesky b. So I have to rewrite it to become b squared is equal to c squared minus a squared. So it would be b squared is equal to 20 squared minus 15 squared. So it would be 20 squared minus 15 squared equals, shift that squared button, and I should get 13.228. 13.228. But again, this is inches, so they want the nearest 16th of an inch. So I take out the whole, so minus 13. I'm left with everything after the decimal. I times that by 16. I get 3.6 something something something. That rounds up to 4/16 or 1/4 of an inch. This would be 13.25 inches. Okay, so for 5, 6, and 7, we're all going to, they all require the same drawing, and really it's just about trying to find the triangles in this diagram to solve the problem. Okay, so question 5 is asking me for A. So again, here's a triangle like that. I know that from the wall to here is 540, and the wall to here is 250. Hey, that means that this right here would be 540 minus 250, right? And if I knew that, I could multiply that by 1.414, and that would give me A right there. Okay, so I'll do just that. 540 minus 250 equals 290. So this little guy is 290. And I'm going to write that here because that's going to help me for B. 290, 290, because it's an equilateral triangle, right? So that's, if that's this here is 290, then it means that's 290 as well. And that's going to be helpful for the next question when we do B. Okay, but anyways, right now we got to finish A. So we know it's 290. We have to multiply that by 1.414 times 1.414, and I should get pretty much 410 on the money. 410. Okay, to find B, I kind of helped us out a little bit already. I know from this wall to this down here is 390. So hey, we know that that's 290. So for B, I can just go 390 minus 290. I don't even need a calculator for that. It's 100. Okay, and then to find C, it's really similar to how we found A. I know that I can figure out the distance from the wall to here, and I can figure out the distance from the wall to here. The difference would be this measurement right here. I can just multiply that by 1.414, and that would tell me C. Okay, so I go 540 plus 480 equals 1020 minus 510 minus 250, and I should get 260, so that's 260 times 1.414, and I should get 367.64. Nearest mill, I guess it would be 368. Yeah, 368. Okay, so now here's our pipe. This is the corner. Imagine you're building a line here, and you have to maintain a 65 mil difference on this side, and you want to maintain a 50 mil difference on this side, and you have to maintain 650 mil on this side. Figure out your travel. Okay, so how you do these is you just work out. Maybe I'll clean this up here a little bit. Okay, and I'll just draw the triangles. So there's a triangle, and hey, there's another triangle. So if that's 650, then this is 650, and this is 650. Okay, and then if I just have to figure out here's a triangle here, I can just take this off. Here's a triangle over here, I take that off. Okay, that's sloppy, it's supposed to be 650. So 650 and 650 is 1300. Okay, but if the whole thing's not 1300, I have to take off those tips. So the top one is just 50 times 1.414, be 70.7 up top. That bottom one would be 65 times 1.414, 91.91. So we just take those off. So it'd be 1300 minus 70.7 minus 91. Okay, so 1300 minus 70.7 minus 91.91. Okay, and I should get 1137.39. So again, it's millimeters, so I'll just go nearest millimeter, be 1137. Okay, here's another variation of similar question, except I have a tank in the middle. So I want to run my piping. I want to maintain 8 inches from the wall down there, 10 inches from the wall over here. But I have this tank that's kind of not equally spaced. It's 7 inches from the wall over here and 5 inches from the wall. It's not a huge tank, I guess, if it's only 20 inches in diameter, and I want to maintain 6 inches. Okay, so figure out my offset. So on these ones, I built from the very center of the tank. Oops. And I'm going to have... So how I do these is I just draw a line straight down and a line straight this way. I'll have one there. And one there. Here, let's get rid of this. Oops. Okay. There we go. Okay. So these two in the middle, it's half the tank, which is 10, because it's from here to here is 10. Then here to here is 6, so it'd be 16. So that's 16. That means this is 16, and that's 16. Now I just got to figure out what these guys over here are. This one and this one. Okay, so how I figure these out is I can figure out what the distance, maybe I'll use a different color for this. I can figure out what the distance from the wall to the center of the tank is. And I know what this is. The difference would be this measurement here. I times that by 1.414, and that would tell me this one right here. Okay, so this is 7 plus the 10 to get me to center. That's 17. So 17 minus the 10, that means that's 7. 7, this would be 7 times 1.414 equals 7 times 9.898. 9.898, yep. And this one over here would be 5 plus 10, which is be 15. So from here to here is 15. This is 8. That means that has to be 7 inches. Hey, look at that. 7 times 1.414. We've done the math already. We know that that's 9.898. Okay, that won't always happen that they're the same, but hey, that's nice that it is. So now I can just add them all up. So I have a 16 and a 16, a 9.898, and a 9.898. So 9.898 times 2 plus 32 equals 51.796. Okay, so how I did that, I better write it down, I guess. Is I have, I'll start over here, I have a 9.898 here. I have a 16 and another 16, 16, 16, and another 9.898. I add them all up and I should get 51.796. Okay, this is in inches, so I probably should answer to the nearest 16th of an inch. So I minus 51 times 16, and you should get 13/16. 51 13/16. Okay, here I have to calculate a pup length. Here it's kind of nice. They're telling me that the fitting allowance is 3 3/4, and the weld gap is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so it's up to you on what you think is easier. If you want to convert this just to inches, you could do that. Whatever you think's easier. I'll convert it to inches and convert back. So I'll just go 3 times 12, 36 plus 8, so it's 44 and a half inches. And I just converted this to inches. For this question, it doesn't matter because I don't think this is going to be less than 8.5, so you'll stay within the 3 feet, but maybe it's easier just to convert to inches. Okay, so it's 44.5 minus 3 3/4 minus 3 3/4. Oops, that should be 1/4. Okay, because I have 2 elbows and I have 2 gaps, so minus 1/8 minus 1/8. Okay, if you want to convert all these fractions to decimals, power to you, but you can also enter fractions into your calculator. So that's what I'll do. Or, truthful, yeah, lots of these decimals are pretty easy, but let's go 44.5. So 44.5 minus 3.75 minus 3.75 minus 1/8 minus 1/8. Okay, and I should get 36 3/4 inches. Okay, but in the feet world, maybe you don't want to leave that as feet. So this is 3 feet, and you're left with 3/4, so it'd be like 3 foot 0 3/4. It's probably how you'd write that. 3 foot 0 3/4. Okay, hopefully that helps you out with the self-test.